It's important to have a float plan whenever you do get underway. What you want to do is you want to let someone know where you're going, how long you're going to be there, and approximately when you're going to come back. And you could leave that with the town of Smithtown, the Department of Public Safety, Waterways and Navigation Division, right here at the marina. If you're filing a float plan, what you should do is notify some of your neighbors, some family members, let them know that you're going out, where you're going to be going, and approximately when you're going to be due home. It's very important that before getting underway and before setting out for a day on the water, that you check the weather and make sure that there's not going to be any kind of adverse weather conditions, thunderstorms. You should monitor the radio very closely. If there's any kind of major thunderstorm activity in our area, channel 16 VHF FM, the Coast Guard will put out a notification, and they'll let you know exactly where and when the storm is coming in. And at that point, you should seek safe harbor immediately. Every vessel that gets underway needs a life jacket for each passenger on board. If you have a child on board, you'd need a child life jacket. There's a bunch of different varieties of life jackets that you could purchase. We suggest to the parents that they bring the child with them to purchase the life jacket, so that the child has a vested interest in picking out the different life jackets, and that it's a little benefit for them to wear it. By United States Coast Guard regulations, it goes by weight. The life jacket has to be rated to the weight of the person. The life jacket has to be attached to the person that's wearing it properly, with all the straps and belts, and everything has to be clipped and properly tied. So if they do go in the water, they don't slip out of the PFD. You also need to have a throw ring with a sufficient amount of line on it, and that's in case someone falls overboard, you're able to throw them a floatable device and get them back to the boat safe. The number one cause of death out here on the water is because the people who are out on the water are not wearing the PFD. If they do fall overboard and they don't have the personal flotation device on, chances are that they're not going to make it. So we suggest that if you're operating on any vessel, we wear them. The Bay Constables wear our personal flotation devices, and we're professionals. We're out there all the time, and we wear our PFDs. So we suggest that anyone who's operating a boat, whether it be a kayak or a canoe or a sailboard, that they wear their personal flotation device. The chill that kills, hypothermia. Hypothermia is when your core body temperature drops below 98.6 degrees. It's something that can come on very sudden in the water. It's one of the main reasons that people die when they fall overboard is hypothermia. And we suggest that you dress properly, you do wear your PFD, and if you do fall overboard and you're able to get back on your boat, you want to remove all the wet clothing that you have and try to get as warm down in a warm compartment. Wrap yourself with dry blankets, get that wet clothing off right away, and get yourself some medical attention.
In the town of Smithtown, fatalities and boating accidents are not very common. They're quite rare. We have had fatalities based on jet ski accidents in the township of Smithtown.
You have to have a New York State boating safety certificate in order to operate a personal watercraft in the state of New York. It used to be that it was only children that needed the safety certificate, but now it's everyone who operates a personal watercraft on the waters of the state of New York must be certified. You must go through a mandatory boating safety course, which is 8 hours, and you're going to be given a document. It's your boating safety certificate, and that must be carried on board at all times. And that's something that we are very active in checking. Whenever we see a young boater on the water, we're going to make sure that they have that safety certificate. During the course of patrol, the bay constables will write summonses. The primary thing that they're looking for is equipment violations. They also will write speeding summonses. All the harbors are 5 miles an hour and will encounter speeding vessels. The other thing that we're also looking for is people who are boating while intoxicated. You know, there's different levels of emergencies on the water. If you're out there and you're out of gas, what you want to do is you just want to try to wave a passerby boater. Many boats that are just passing by will render assistance to you. At minimum, they'll make a phone call or they will contact us via Channel 16. And what they'll do is they'll stand by until we get on scene. If you're out there by yourself and you don't find any passing traffic, by all means, you could use one of your flares that you have on board. You can use your flag, your distress flag, and you would fly the distress flag from the highest point of your vessel. And hopefully a passerby boater would see you and either come up to you and find out what was wrong with you, or they'd notify us. If you are stuck out on the water, we suggest that you contact the Town of Smithtown Waterways and Navigation Division. There are several ways that you can contact us. The first and easiest way to contact us would be via Channel 16 VHF FM radio. We monitor that frequency basically 24/7. And you could also call us via landline on a cell phone at area code 631-360-7643. That's the direct number to the marina here. And you know, we'll come right out and we'll come out and assist you. Marine 2, just to advise you, we were able to tow the vessel off the beach. They are underway on their own power. We are 3827 at this time.
And 416.8.
Different vessels require different items that must be carried on board. It really doesn't change much to the size of the boat. Fire extinguishers would be one thing that would change according to the size of the vessel. If you have a large boat, you're going to need more fire extinguishers. If it's a smaller boat, you only need one Class B1 fire extinguisher. All boats need to have, you need to have flares, a sound producing device.
That's our normal horn.
You're also going to need all of your equipment. When we stop you, or when you get stopped by the Coast Guard or the Suffolk County Marine Police, they're going to check to see that you're in compliance with all state, federal, and local regulations. You also need to have if you have an inboard boat, it has to have a backfire flame arrestor that covers the carburetor, and that is to prevent any kind of spark down in the engine compartment that could cause a fire or explosion. In today's environment, we have a lot of people who are going out on boats today that don't have radios, and we strongly are opposed to that type of thought process with the people, because a lot of times they're going to go out into these areas, out into the Long Island Sound, and you're not going to have very good cell service. So we suggest to all of our boaters in the town of Smithtown that they have a marine VHF radio, whether it's a portable unit or if it's a fixed mount unit on the boat. That way you can contact us, or you can contact the Coast Guard directly via Channel 16 VHF FM. Pieces of equipment that you could have on board your boat: a marine radio, a VHF radio, a first aid kit would be a good thing to have on board the boat. You might want to have a paddle. You might want to have a bailing device or a pump, some kind of a pump. We also think that it's a good idea to have a GPS on board, maybe a flashlight. It's good stuff to have on the boat. As far as New York State navigation law goes and Town of Smithtown code, all vessels are required to have a proper registration on board. They must be carried on board. They must be the original copy of the New York State registration, and that needs to be produced when requested by a police or peace officer out on the water.
When they're registered, you get a hull number involving the original 2 letters of NY, followed by a series of 4 numbers, followed by a series of 2 letters. Those numbers are essentially like an automobile license plate. They go on the forward half of the hull of the vessel. They're supposed to be put in a color that will contrast against the color of the hull. For example, if the hull is white, you should have a dark color, such as a black lettering and numbers used, so that the numbers can be seen from a distance. In addition to that, 3 inches to the rear of those numbers, you place a New York State registration sticker. The registration has a year of expiration on it, and that's also similar to a vehicle. In the channels in the town of Smithtown, the maximum speed is 5 miles per hour. It is also slows down to certain areas that are designated as no-wake zones, particularly when you're coming into marina areas. There are buoys that are in the channel that designate this. They're white buoys. They give you information. There are white buoys in the channel that say 5 miles per hour on them, and there are other buoys that say no wake. In addition to those, you have red buoys and green buoys. When you're entering a channel and in the waterways of town of Smithtown, as well as the waterways of the United States, the red buoy should be on your right-hand side. Generally, the rules of the road are that a motorboat that is overtaking a vessel that's in front of it should sound the horn twice and pass it on its starboard side, or sound the horn once and pass it on its port side. When a vessel is, if you're in a powerboat and you're moving forward, a powerboat on your right or starboard has the right of way, and a boat on your left or port should give you way. But that you have to consider that you have to objectively look at the situation. If the boat that you're approaching is not obeying the law, then it becomes incumbent upon you to throttle back for safety reasons and watch what the other vessel's doing. Sailboats, again, under power, are treated like motorboats. A sailboat under sail now has the right of way, and you have to yield.
When operating a vessel at night, it's New York State requirement that the vessel have proper running lights. The running lights are a port and starboard running light. The forward lights are red and green, and the stern light or masthead light is a white light. It can be a combination light on a smaller vessel where you would have red and green in combination with the white stern light. They have to be displayed during times of restricted visibility and from dusk to dawn.
A vessel that's transported down to the marina that's going to be launched on a trailer usually has a trailer that's going to be appropriate for the weight of the boat, and that would be determined by the most of the commercial marinas that sell trailers or sell boats are going to match them together. The trailers tend to be rated on weight and overall length so that the boat will fit on it appropriately. You're going to have a hitch on your vehicle that's going to be rated to handle the weight of the boat. There's also a tongue weight that comes into play when you brake, because weight transfers from the front towards the tongue of the trailer. All of that can be determined by the person who sells you the equipment. Lights, the same lighting pattern that you have on your car is the same lighting pattern that you're going to have on your trailer, and you're going to have a New York State license on it, and it's going to have to be registered on a yearly basis. And that registration will be displayed with a sticker in the corner of the plate.
So we're going to simulate hooking up a trailer to a trailer hitch on a boat, and what you want to do is you want to make sure that the ball and the tongue match. This happens to be a 2-inch ball with a 2-inch tongue, so we're going to put the tongue on the trailer ball, and then you want to make sure that you hook up your wire harness. This is for your brakes and for your directionals, and that simply just gets plugged in. Okay, you want to make sure that you hook up your chains or your cables. In this case, it's cables, and you want to make sure that you hook them up to the vehicle, and you have to crisscross them. So we're going to hook this one up right in here, like so. And then the other one goes on the other side, and we're going to crisscross that one. So if the trailer, God forbid, does pop off the ball, the idea is that the tongue of the trailer will lay in the cables and it won't hit the road. It's very important to check the plug before you launch your boat. As you can see right here, the vessel is taking on water, and if you don't put the drain plug in, you're going to sink. So make sure that you put the plug in before you launch your boat. It's important that you check your bilge, and you want to make sure that you don't have any kind of fuel vapors down there. So I'm going to open the hatch here, and the best way to do it is just stick your head in there, just smell around and make sure you don't smell any fuel vapors. This is the engine, this is the fuel tank right here. And it smells good. So that's it. Now we can start the boat up. One of the most important things that we suggest that you do is to check for any kind of fuel leaks. You always want to check to see that your fuel lines are connected properly. You want to see that all of your gear is stowed properly. You want to make sure that that drain plug is in place before you do get underway. The primary mission of the Department of Public Safety, Waterways and Navigation Division is law enforcement. And what we're out there trying to do is to keep the boating public safe.